Hi everyone, Pam Gregory, astrologer. I just wanted to make a short video, partly as an addendum to my thoughts and themes for 2024, and also just to really put emphasis on the very unstable geomagnetics that we're going to be having, we are in the midst of now, and ongoing, I think, certainly until 2026. And so let me explain what I mean by that. Uranus is the planet of unpredictability. It's the planet linked to electromagnetics. It's the planet linked to earthquake activity, volcanoes, tsunamis, extreme earth events. It is in Taurus, which is fixed earth. So certainly that suggests until Uranus moves fully out of Taurus in 2026, that we're going to have a lot more extreme Earth events. But in addition, that signature also means unstable geomagnetics. And we've certainly been experiencing a lot of those. And what I'm talking about here in this video really are the solar flares. Now, many of you may be aware that yesterday on the 14th of December, we had our largest solar flare in 6 years, since 2017. It was an X-class flare, 2.87 magnitude, and that's really huge. And to just help you understand the scale of that, the solar flare scale is like the Richter scale. It's exponential, it's not linear. So we have C-class flares, and then 10 times the strength of C-class, we have M-class flares, M for mother, and then 10 times the strength of M-class, we have X-class flares. So X-class flares historically have been very rare. So, and the way you can track this for yourself very easily, because this is highly measurable, is to go onto spaceweather.com. So again, just to give you a context for this, for instance, if we look back to 2018 and 2019, there were no M-class or X-class flares at all through those years, only C-class. This year, so far, we've had 12 X-class flares. We still haven't finished the year. And we've had 38 M-class flares, often several in a day. So this is exponential, that over a few short years, the jump in the magnitude of solar flares has really been, excusing the pun, off the scale. It's because there's no dress rehearsal for this. We are little individual energy bodies, and these solar flares are some of the key ingredients of our ascension, because they're bringing information from the sun and the galaxies. So that's upgrading every cell in our body. But because there's no rehearsal for it, our physicality is having to shift very quickly to try and assimilate and adapt with what's going on. And many people will be feeling aches and pains, headaches, tinnitus, extreme fatigue. One of the classics is insomnia. I mean, I could win prizes for sleeping normally. It's the thing I do best. I'm averaging about 2 to 3 hours a night at the moment. And nerves get frayed. We are more sensitive. We're more triggered. So just be kind to yourself and be aware of that, because every single person on earth is experiencing this. So just be gentle with yourself and recognize the scale of what we are going through. Things like magnesium can help, potassium can help if you're feeling edgy or you're not sleeping. But essentially, these are going to keep on coming. And the Earth is in what is called solar cycle 25, and that was estimated to peak in solar flares during 2025. But the astrophysicists and scientists who, and they report on spaceweather.com, you can track it very easily, they have now pulled the peak earlier, as it were, into late 2023, where we are at the moment, and all through 2024. And yes, they create some incredible, beautiful auroras. And as I say, a key part of our evolution, but it's quite tough on our physicality. So just know to be kind to yourself. Just know that they're going to keep on coming. 2024, I think, will be, following what space weather reports are saying, is going to be the peak year And because the magnetic shield, and I've talked about this many times, of both the sun and the earth have both dropped, that is allowing in a much higher level of solar flares. So, as I say, the real astrological signifier of this is Uranus in Taurus, very literally unstable Earth, and Uranus being the planet most linked to electromagnetic surges. It's not, it comes in quanta, it comes in surges, it's linked to bolts of lightning and thunder, and it's not steady, it's not linear, surges. And yesterday, apparently, it disrupted, the X-class flare disrupted some areas of radio station. It also disrupted radio contacts with some planes. Remember that Uranus is linked to aviation, because in myth, Uranus was the sky god. Uranus rules Aquarius, and we are going to see a lot more of this, as not only next year do we have Uranus in Taurus, but we have Pluto moving into Aquarius, which means it's going to intensify anything linked to Aquarian and Uranian energy. And I've talked about this in other videos, but it's going to be very linked to things coming from the out there, from the sky, from the heavens, from the sun. There's going to be a lot more out there activity that is going to affect our Earth. And Gaia herself is going through her own upgrade, as we know. And so, yes, we can expect more seismic activity, earthquakes, volcanoes, tsunamis, but lots of extreme weather events, because the Earth is ascending very rapidly too. And Uranus is also the planet of unpredictability, the unexpected. So even as astrologers, we can't point down the timeline and say exactly it's going to be then that we're going to experience this massive solar flare or this massive earthquake, because they're going to be quite sudden. Now, with spaceweather.com, we can get max, I think, about a couple of days warning of big solar storms, big solar flares coming, but that's about as good as it gets. It's pretty unpredictable by their very nature, because they're linked to Uranus. Now, you may be aware, some of you, that in 1859, there was a major, what was called a solar superstorm, massive solar flares. And so this was 1st of September, 1959, and it's known as the Carrington Event, because the astronomer who detected the solar superstorm, his name was Carrington. And this wreaked absolute havoc on what was called their Victorian internet, which was at the time, it was their telegraph system. Telegraph lines were taking over large areas of geography, particularly North America. It took them out for months. So what was their communication system then was just absolutely decimated because of this solar superstorm. Therefore, it is very likely that we, in this period of time going up to 2026 at least, will have power outages. It's also the signifier of cyber attacks, by the way, as well. But power outages, radio blackouts, electrical blackouts, and even internet blackouts. That's entirely possible, particularly if we look back to what was happening at the Carrington event. It's just the nature of, we are so interconnected now. Our world is so interconnected with the internet, and it runs our financial system. Remember, Uranus in Taurus is also linked to disruptions in the financial system as well. That if part of the internet goes down, you can imagine that's going to cause a lot of radical change, let us say, to be kind about this. So, and we'll only get a few hours or a couple of days warning for this. So this is what we are in. And the purpose of it, as I say, is incredibly positive, because it's allowing us, or enabling us, to ascend at dizzying speed, but it's not very comfortable physically to live through, because we are all human beings with not up till recently a pretty steady energy body, but that's changing very, very rapidly. And so looking back to the astrology of the Carrington Event, 1st of September 1859, I was actually quite surprised because I thought I would see more drama around that. I thought I'd discover, it could be Uranus in a very strong aspect to many planets, but actually it was only that the sun was square to Uranus. The sun was at 8 degrees of Virgo, square to Uranus at 739 of Gemini. It's interesting, of course, Gemini is the sign linked to communications, and communications were severely disrupted for sure for many months in 1859. So that was the signature then, the sun square to Uranus. And there weren't any other major big aspects to Uranus. So, so we're going to look at this and track it. Now, it is predicted, I'm filming this on the 15th, it's predicted as we go into this weekend, 16th, 17th, and 18th of December 2023, that we are likely to be having a big solar storm, big geomagnetic storm. And in fact, on the 18th, next week of December 2023, we have Mars quincunx Uranus, and that becomes exact on the 21st, just as we're going into the Capricorn solstice. And so hard aspects between Mars and Uranus, because Mars energizes Uranus, particularly when it's a hard aspect, square, as it is here, quincunx, opposition, etc., gives energy in a challenging way to Uranus, which is in Taurus fixed Earth. So we could expect quite a lot of disruption in communications, solar storms, power grids going down in some geographies of the world. So this is what we expect. And I'm not just talking about also this year, as I say, end of 2023. This is really likely to continue until Uranus fully exits Taurus, until 2026, I believe. So in terms of looking down the timeline, even just over the next few months, in January, we have Pluto moving into Aquarius. So Pluto is the purpose. One of the purposes of Pluto is that it intensifies the nature of the sign it's moving through. So because Aquarius is ruled by Uranus, it is going to intensify all of these things I've just talked about: the instability of the whole energy of the Earth, the potentially increase the solar flares, disruptions with aviation, disruption with internet, electrical grids, etc. All of that's going to increase. And by the way, really, as I've just mentioned, it does impact, because Aquarius is very linked to our nervous systems. So it's going to impact our nervous system, as I say. So for all of us, we're going to feel more jazzed up, plugged into the mains, hard to sleep. And therefore we have to, we have to be kind to ourselves, and we probably have to take a breath and step back before we communicate with others too. I've sort of become increasingly aware of that, because we're all going to be feeling more edgy potentially. Now, there are many amazing things that are going to happen next year in terms of solutions, healing technologies, free energy emerging more clearly. I mean, there are going to be all kinds of exciting new developments, but some of the challenges are what I'm just talking about, focused on the geomagnetics in this video. We are going to see more mental illness as a result of this. That's one of the ingredients, I think, to this, because Uranus destabilizes. Uranus will destabilize the Earth and destabilize our nervous system, because it's a rapid upgrade. It's a rapid upgrade with no rehearsal. So we're going to step into this new energy very quickly. So January, 20th of January, Pluto moves into Aquarius. That is going to intensify everything Aquarian. And so that's just January. February, if I'm looking at what's feeding into this theme? We have Mars conjunct Pluto at 0 of Aquarius. So Mars is going to energize whatever Pluto is doing in Aquarius. In March, we have Mars square to Uranus. Classic, as I've just said, for earthquake activity, increased geomagnetic storms, solar flares, etc. April, we have a huge conjunction, which every astrologer in the world is going to be talking about, Jupiter conjunct Uranus at 20 to 21 of Taurus. Jupiter expands any symbolism of Uranus. It's going to expand the instability, expand the potential for solar flares and seismic activity. In May, Jupiter moves into Gemini. And the reason that's important in our theme of unstable geomagnetics is by kind of late June, early July, it is moving back over the 7-8 degrees of the mutables, 7 degrees of Gemini, where Uranus was in 1859. And degrees stay hot. They stay activated if there's some big event at the time. So that 739 of Gemini, where Uranus was, I hope you're following this, on 1st of September 1859, is where Jupiter is going to be passing at that time in late June 2024, and also the Sun is going to be conjunct Uranus. So that could be a big time. May going to, so January, February, March, April, May, June, we have got some, and July, if I'm looking at July, we've got Mars conjunct Uranus, energizing the energy of Uranus. So even looking down those first 7 months of 2024, we are going to see heightened, unstable geomagnetics. And because that links with what the astrophysicists and the scientists are saying about the peak of solar cycle 25 being actually in 2024, now and in 2024, the astrology is linking very directly to that. And yes, some of those faster cycles, Mars, Jupiter, yes, you can say, well, they happen perhaps more regularly, but not with the backdrop of Pluto moving into Aquarius. That only happens every 248 years. So the astrological setup is supporting more solar flares, which are going to be even more eventful, even more dramatic than we've seen so far, but is also supporting our very, very rapid quantum jumps in our human evolution. So I hope that makes sense to you. And I just really wanted to do that as an add-on to what I was saying about my video about 2024, but it's very relevant to where we are right now today. So even before the end of 2023, we could see even more solar flare activity, which is very dramatic. Remember that astrology is a language of mathematical probability. It's not a language of certainty. So it gives times of greater probability of particular qualities of energy manifesting. That's how it works. It isn't absolutely specific in terms of that's going to happen on that date in that geography exactly. That's much harder to say. You're dealing with probability, and we're dealing with some massive evolutionary cycles at the same time. So I hope that's helped a little bit to clarify the picture for you. And we are all in this together. So I am sleeping very little as well. So we've just got to ride this wave because it has, so partly we don't have any choice, but also it's got some enormous benefits in terms of where we are headed as humanity to a higher state of being. God bless, bye for now. And yeah, just keep taking the magnesium and the potassium. Bye for now. And grounding, bare feet on the grass as often as you can. Remember all the things I've mentioned, bare feet on the grass, weather permitting, dropping into your breath, candle gazing, all of those things that bring you back to your center, your anchor, your calmness, breath work, meditation, all of those things, anything that works for you to kind of decompress your energy and particularly take it out of the head into the body, and warmth, you can just feel that energy calm down and decompress. So all of those things I've mentioned many times in my videos are going to be very helpful for you too. God bless and have a wonderful festive season. If you celebrate it, and again, thank you just a millionfold for all of your kind wishes and care. I'm going to take a bit of a break over this time, partly to try and get some sleep, so I won't be as active as I normally am. I've just got to take some time out and get some rest at this time. So, but be back very soon, end of the year, and with more videos. Bye for now.